Now, what is a problem is New Zealand's energy crisis. And we have a genuine crisis that's emerged over the last few weeks and months, and it's not getting any better. And new data from the Electricity Authority shows that millions of dollars that electricity gentailers, that's generation retailers, are making from what some say, as commentators say, is a broken market. A new dashboard indicates the big six energy companies have consistently made more than $70 million in margins across the weeks for which the data is displayed, which has led to Associate Energy Minister Shane Jones accusing the companies of profiteering. As wholesale electricity prices have soared, they had a margin of $119 million, apparently, according to the Electricity Industry Authority this morning. Methanex is temporarily shutting its New Zealand methanol plants. It's agreed to sell its gas to power companies Contact and Genesis to help through the current crisis. Can't imagine that that particular transaction's happened at anything other than a rather sizable profit. And there is still no hint or no suggestion that the rain is going to fall anymore. The Southern Lakes, gosh, I saw a photo just of one. It's in the ODT this morning at Plunket, and it's just a disaster. It has to be said. That lake is receding at a rate that's just extraordinary, astronomical. But all the southern lakes are in a similar particular plight. Although I've noticed, ironically, and I live, 30 kilometres from the Clyde Dam, that my local area is very full. So that's the Clutha coming down that fills the Clyde Dam. A lot of water around Cromwell, that's all I can say at the moment. Certainly not in the southern lakes, Benmore, Avamore, Waitaki, the same. Joining us, though, to talk about where to from here, if anywhere, and we've had him on before, very knowledgeable, is John Carnegie from Energy Resources Aotearoa, and he joins us now. John, welcome to the show this afternoon. Love to have you on.
Hi, Michael.
Mate, you've just heard my introduction.
Yep.
Despite all that, are we going to get through this before it? I mean, now that particularly Methanex has done the deal with Contact and Genesis, or is that just pottering around the sides?
I mean, some have described that a wee bit as the deck chairs on the Titanic. But I think the deal that Methanex has done to put its gas into the electricity market is absolutely going to help. And I guess that signals two things, just the importance, actually, of gas in the economy and also the importance of gas in the electricity sector. And the folly, actually, of trying to remove it from both industry and the electricity sector.
Yeah, doesn't it? You're absolutely right. I mean, this is a real one in the eye, particularly for Labour and the Greens, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it does show that their efforts to remove gas from the economy was a failed experiment.
And this is not going to end anytime soon, is it? This dependent upon fossil fuels for, well, seasons just like this.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's exactly the reason that we have gas in the electricity system. I mean, I guess in terms of the electricity system, and our energy, gas and electricity systems together, actually, we've got a couple of things going on. And you led into this in your intro, Michael. We've got record low hydro lake levels. The issue is, and that's creating clearly a supply shortage, and that's feeding through into scarcity and prices. So that you kind of say, all right, okay, well that's pretty uncomfortable, but we don't have any rain. But the issue is that when you combine that with insufficient gas-fired power stations, so we've got an absence of thermal-powered power stations in the system, and with insufficient gas, then you've almost got the perfect storm. And the reason I talk about gas-fired power stations is, again, to your point, effectively what they do is hold the system together when the lakes are low and the wind's not blowing and the sun's not shining. So you need something to effectively hold the system together. And we've got emerging technologies, and we've got batteries which are fantastic, but they tend to only be able to shift your peak slightly. They won't help us when the lakes are low for weeks on end. You need thermal-fired power stations for that.
No, and the interesting thing is that, we all know that the climate is changing. There might be a debate about humankind's particular involvement and how much humankind is contributing to that and how much is natural. But putting all that to one side, we all know that the climate is changing and that there are predictions that what we're seeing this year will not be completely irregular, that it's likely to be drier on the eastern side of the island, particularly the South Island. That's the predictions of all meteorologists and weather people over the next decade or so. So it means that we can't just say this is a one-off, can we?
No, we're likely to, again, you're right, we're likely to see more and more extreme weather patterns and events play out over time, which just speaks to the need to ensure that our energy system and our electricity market is resilient and that it has a diverse range of technologies and fuels. Look, we love renewables. We think that the system needs more, and we've got an abundance of them. So it's just a matter of trying to work quicker to unlock more renewables. But, I guess it's the irony in all of this is you have an electricity system that becomes more and more weather dependent. It becomes more and more intermittent. And so you need something to fill the gap, and that's gas-fired power stations. Again, you're going to have other technologies coming in. There are amazing little outfit that's looking to do black pellets to help co-fire Huntley instead of coal. You're going to have bio green gases come into the system, hydrogen. You're going to have biomethane and all of those sorts of things, but you're going to need to have natural gas in the system as well.
Listen, the other thing that's come out, and I alluded to it in the introduction, was the Electricity Authority putting the spotlight on power profits at the moment. In your view, John, is that spotlight due, welcome, or overheated?
Oh, no, look, sunshine is the best disinfectant. I think periodic reviews, actually they're not uncommon, and it's always useful to test that our electricity market is working and the settings are right. But, I think the key thing we need to be careful about, and the word profiteering has been thrown around. I was trying to think about how to conceptualise it, and it's almost akin to saying that homeowners are to blame for high house prices. Actually, it's about supply, insufficient supply, and scarcity. But as I said, it's always good to look under the bonnet.
So just on that issue,
prices are justified.
So if electricity generators aren't generating as much electricity as obviously as the country needs, so in other words, you've got a shortage of supply that drives prices up, is there always a countervailing incentive for electricity companies then to ensure that such a shortage exists because you can charge more for the electricity you have?
Oh, that's a very. No, I wouldn't have thought so, because it's a very. It's a dangerous game for the generators, because of course if you try and hold, and this is the test of whether the market is competitive actually. It's if you're holding prices high, then all you do is risk someone coming in and building the next power station or generation capacity, and you're effectively, if you are profiteering, that those profits disappear. So now I think actually what we're doing is talking about the complexity of planning and developing and consenting and then building what are quite complex pieces of kit, be it a wind farm or a solar farm or a new gas-fired power station. So, I think the key question is, if high prices are sustained, is there anything stopping new entrants from building lower cost generation plant and effectively competing the profits away? I think that's the test, and hopefully that's what the work of the Electricity Authority, and I think the Commerce Commission has been asked to have a look here. They'll be looking to see whether profits reflect a workably competitive market.